All right. Welcome, 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 one and all. My name is Raven, Strap Strings, Fates Winds, whatever the heck you want to call me. And today, we are touching on a game that is very near and dear to me. It is a game that some of my friends have worked on, and they just got part 2 pushed out. You'll be able to, for those of you on the actual stream side of things, you guys can actually see the pinned message to see what that's about. Um, but we are going to be playing Repurpose. Now, I did go and play this a while back. So there is already save data already up. But this is a game that my friends have made. And we're gonna be completely restarting this to show you guys it from the start. Before I get started though, Nova 96D, Maple Kaede. I'm going to butcher this one. I'm so sorry. Ilfa Small or Yifa Small, and Axo from Axo. Thank you guys all so much for the follows. I hope you guys all enjoy your time here. But yeah, as everything says on here, also let me get a shout out for Luna. Yeah, as this game says here, and I hope I managed to put things on here correctly. The game does have strong language, sexual themes, reference to death, mention of police violence, mild to moderate violence, discussions of gender and sexual identity, spooky imagery some might find shocking, and is intended for mature audiences only. But yeah, let's get started. Yep, I know this stuff. Our name? Strap. Neither. We're non-binary. The intention of the oh yeah, so you can this is a really fun game because you're able to go and like you can choose any of these. Like let's go and say with this, like this. Now did he identify as male or did he figure this out later in life? You can do this. But since we're going with how I go with this, neither. Where do they fall in this beautiful spectrum? Non-binary, agender, gender fluid, genderqueer, or bigender. Non-binary. All right. And now we no longer have the save files that I had before all of this. We can start all over again. Let me go. Oops. And let's start. There was nothing but darkness in that moment. Also, are you guys able to see my cursor? Because I did not remember to check that off. I couldn't see. I couldn't speak. I couldn't feel anything. Yes, you can see the cursor? Okay, thank you. Thank you. I did not want to have that on there. And then, in an instant, it was as if my entire being was thrust violently through the air. That feels like it should be centered more. Oh well. it's a thing I can let the team know about later. I wasn't being thrown up or down, but everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And before I could muster any fear, I saw the light. I found myself surrounded by a crowd of people. Also, can you guys hear me over this? Let me know, because this is still set to the old games stuff. Um, so if anything needs to be changed or anything, let me know and I can go and mess with the crowd is a little overbearing. All right, let's see if that is. Oh, that's background music apparently. All right, let me know when it's good because it started at full. Let's do it at at only 5 hearts. Is that still too loud? I'm just gonna talk a little bit more while this is going on to have that checked and everything. But if let me know if this is a little bit better. Didn't change much. Okay, let's drop that down. Let's drop that down to 4 then, because that's gonna be it a little bit there. Now, it already sounds quite a bit quieter on my end of things. Um, but worst comes to the worst, I can always that's good for now. Okay, it's there might be times where I have to fuddle around with this. Hopefully, not too much. I found myself surrounded by a crowd of people. People were clamoring around a stage, talking loudly amongst one another. Probably just because it's crowd voices. Yeah, it's like the music in this is so good. But I'm surprised that was listed as background and not voice. Like that was listed as background music and not sound effects or voices. People were clamoring around a stage, talking loudly amongst one another. It seemed like they were just as confused as I was. I tuned out their voices for a moment and rubbed my temples to collect my thoughts. What was I doing before arriving here? How did I even get here? I I can't recall it all. Any memory I could have had as to when and how I got here are non-existent. What? What the hell? Why can't I remember anything? But before I could ruminate on that revelation, 2 figures took the stage that made the whole audience in attendance go silent. To the left was an elegantly robed man. He had white hair like foam that caked a beach shore. An odd, dark, discolored pattern surrounded his left eye. A birthmark, maybe? It was hard to tell at a distance. But above all else, he had a large set of wings protruding from his back. His smile was humble, warm, and noticeably nervous as he took to the podium. He scanned over the crowd as he waved shyly to us. And to the right, another sharply dressed man took the empty podium across the angel. His hair was a deep, fiery red and hung just past his shoulders. Everything about his energy exuded confidence, from the way he leans against the stand to the way his amused expression spread across his face.
Late on the first day of work. Not very kind of you to keep us all waiting, even if we technically have an eternity. Your predecessor was punctual, at least.
Silence, demon!
demon. I hadn't noticed it before, but that redhead. He had cat-like eyes and horns sprouting from each side of his head. And the demon's long black tail swished as if amused, before pointing to the other microphone stand.
Oh, this thing on?
The angel seemed embarrassed.
Anyway, aloha aina, everyone.
Hello there.
And welcome to the garden. I know you all must be confused as to why you are here, but let me explain where you all are at, yeah? You mean we, right? This here where we stand is the Garden of Eden. Even though its trees bear fruit no more, it remains the more lovely part of this place. You're rude like your predecessor too. What is this place you are thinking, yes? Well, you're in a place that is neither above or below, but somewhere in the middle. Ending up here is extremely rare, and how it happens varies from person to person. Living a listless life, overindulgence, or if your time was cut short, the list goes on. In a way, it's like your path has been erased, yeah? So basically, you're all in Limbo. Granted, it has many other names. Limbo, Purgatory, the DMV, just to name a few you've come up with. I'm particularly fond of Limbo. It makes me think of taking a cruise across the endless ocean back home. I could take some of you aboard with me if you'd like. And that brings me to my next point.
I am the Archangel Calais, and I have been assigned to this realm to offer help in crossing over to heaven, or as we like to call it up there, Utopia.
Hydrate and hydrate, take a big drink of water, because when I drink, we all drink. Got it, Ashley. And a stretch. All right. There we go. And because I was muted, bringing the volume back up so you guys can actually hear. So you guys can actually hear this as well. Because you guys are missing out on some really good music otherwise. Posture check. Too late. Already made sure that my posture was good all the same. But can't be a shrimp. Can't be a shrimp to get bitches. I mean, I would say just watch me, but I am already taller than shrimp height, so oh well. To get to this promised land, your resolve must be tested in one of the town's circle in Utopia's gates, called Haven Homes. It is there that mortals must perform genuine acts of virtue to prove they have earned entry into Utopia. You'll be staying in Haven Home outside the realm of Utopia if and when you are ready to ascend. Please be aware that while patience is a virtue, there is a time limit of 1 Earth year to prove yourself worthy of citizenship within Utopia's walls. Similar circumstances follow if you want to get into hell. Though we aren't as elitist as Utopia, who require you to take an arbitrary morality test. It's nothing much. Just denounce Utopia and pledge your unwavering loyalty to hell. We'll even overlook your first 3 misdemeanors to sweeten the deal. But any sins after that, and you'll have to undergo some torture to atone. If you get caught, that is. Which, given our enforcers, you most likely will. However, if you're not stupid about it, we might just give you a promotion. Oh, don't look scared. It's not any different than what you've turned the Earth into. The main difference is that in hell, we actually punish vile and disgusting sex predators. Lucifer hates them the most, so as punishment, we get some nice hot sitting blades and take it to their genitals and...
By the choir, have mercy!
Whoa, okay, We don't need to hear the graphic details, demon.
Hmm.
Even if they deserve it. Fine, fine. But, in my opinion, that alone still makes hell better than Earth. Though, I suppose I can talk about some of the other luxuries we have. Like, did I mention we have a 4D theater, a vast shopping center, and a Star Fox at every corner to help you get through the literal endless nights?
Oh, and the name's Ramon, by the way. The pleasure is all mine should you want me to drag you to hell.
Wait. Since when did hell have a 4D theater? And just what even is 4D? There's a third dimension that can be projected by human means at that? Oh, it's where the seats are equipped with features it's where the seats are equipped with features such as vibration, wind, strobe, fog, and scent to give an immersive experience when a film is playing. I find them quite fun, really, even if I have to make the 3-circle trek down to the Envy Circle. Just goes to show how behind the times Utopia is, if 2D is as good as it gets. Moving on. There is always the option of remaining here, but fair warning. Limbo is relatively unmonitored territory between Utopia and Hell. Your soul's fate is uncertain, and many residents here live out the rest of eternity lost. It's pretty much a 24/7 free-for-all, so I'd watch your back. However, there is no need to dwell on that, as I am here to help you cross over to a better place for the allotted time. Please, do not be afraid to reach out, as it is my life's purpose to herd your lost souls to peace. Any questions? There's a lot of mumbling and chatter amongst the crowd, all discussing who they wanted to join. Bringing that back down. From how they were talking, it seems like a pretty even split of people intending to follow either one of them. I considered my options. Utopia seemed like the most reasonable decision, given the other was literal hell. But from the way the team had pitched it, aside from a few discrepancies, hell was like living on Earth. One valued the morality of a person, while the other took them as they were, flaws and all. I guess the big question I had to ask myself was, am I a good person? This is bullshit! What? I turned my head to see who that was. It was a short masked person with rabbit ears that raised their voice first.
This whole system is bullshit! Having to prove how saintly I was? Does activism do nothing for people these days? Christ, dude! Just because hell is pretty much Earth doesn't make it that much better, considering how fucked Earth was when I left it.
Hear, hear!
This holier-than-thou, silver-tongued shtick isn't selling me a goddamn thing.
That's not what I've been trying to say at all.
Perish here then.
Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels this way, right? Who's with me?
The crowd went silent with a few awkward coughs here and there. Even though they had a mask, people avoided eye contact with the haired fellow. A ripped woman in a cropped varsity jacket and goggles spoke up.
Just how technologically advanced is heaven?
She completely blew off the rabbit head. It's called Utopia. So pretentious. It's inclusive to people of all faiths. But, to answer your question, it's... Also, I am so sorry to all the Islander people, and to all the Latinos, because, or all the people of the Latin community, again, as I've said in previous things, I'm able to stick to a single voice, like a single accent things and style, if I'm not having to switch between the two, if I'm not having to switch between multiple. However, doing Calais' voice and doing Ramon's voice kind of gets a little murky for me. and it's a little hard for me to keep up the accent every now and then. So, I apologize. I apologize. Also, I apologize because I am a white person, and I am going to be doing all of these voices as best as I can. But to answer your question, it's as advanced as the residents make it to be. Which, unfortunately for Utopia, leaves it a couple of years behind what you're used to. They still use VHS and Walkmans over there, I bet. Untrue! Calais pulled out a chunky-looking circular device and placed a large set of headphones on his head. We got these portable devices called CD players just last month. That's a new one to me. Now we can listen to music wherever we go. So long as we don't scratch the disc or move too much.
Ay, dear Lucifer.
If you want, I can pencil you in for a tour of hell by the end of the orientation, Miss Michelle.
No need. I've already made up my mind.
Ramon's face lit up.
I'm gonna take my chance with the angel here. I love working on projects from scratch, and it sounds like Utopia is in dire need of an upgrade if it wants to be called my home. Oh, and just call me Mitz. Michelle is my mother's name.
It is what it is.
Suit yourself. I hate to see such brains go to waste, though.
But of course.
Nice, cuz. You don't know how happy it... Aloha aina, everyone. Nice, cuz. You don't know how happy it makes me to have someone as brilliant as you join us. That is not to say we're not looking forward to the rest of you willing to come as well.
Hang on a second. I'm dead!
Mood. Yep.
Oh shit, dude, you're right! We died?
My apologies.
Yeah, you are.
I can't be dead! I have a midterm!
Mood. That's a hard mood.
Mom studied really hard for tomorrow.
Kinda not the worst thing to be worrying about, but... Man, this sucks. Suddenly, the realization had dawned on all of us. We were all dead. Trapped here in this limbo. Never to see the surface again. Never to see our friends and families. Or our pets. All of our lives had come to an end, whether we saw it coming or not. Noticing the rise in teary eyes and melancholy, Calais and Ramon tried to calm the crowd down before it went into a full panic. Mitt spoke up once more, breaking the tension.
How did I die, if I may ask?
The two up on stage looked at each other with uncertainty.
Oh dear.
Are you sure you want to know?
It would just be nice to know how I spent my final moments before getting here.
The angel smiled warmly. I understand. It will bring you some solace and closure, yeah?
Yeah.
I want to know too! I hardly remember a thing! My memories are all fuzzy-wuzzy. I would have loved to have heard Rosita say that. Same here, yo! Alright then. He motioned over to the jacked woman. Miss Sharon Moore, your time of death was October 25th, 2008, at 8:07 p.m. Sorry, I got my wires a little crossed there. Michelle Moore, your time of death was October 25th, 2018, at 8:07 p.m. from blood loss. You were dismantling a robot gifted to you by an associate for its AI system for a personal project when suddenly... Oh my. The machine suddenly powered on and chewed your whole hand off! Since you lived alone at the time and had your garage soundproofed at the request of your neighbors, No one heard your screams of agony when it happened.
Yeesh. Well, at least I went out the way I lived. Fisting machinery.
Ayo! She lifted her right up. She lifted her right arm for anyone to high five, but it was kind of difficult to do with her hand missing. So she was left hanging. Her sassy little rabbit friend, DJ Roadkill, as most people called them, died in the most ironic and hilarious of ways. July 4th, 2019, perished when a peaceful protest boycotting the police for racially inspired police brutality turned into a full-blown riot. It's unknown who threw the first stone. Just kidding. Of course it was the police. And you were the stone when an officer shoved you in front of an oncoming car. Get it? Because the stage name is DJ Roadkill. I don't think that's fun. DJ Roadkill snickered.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. LOL. Ah, well, guess I died the way I lived too. Sticking it to the fucking man.
I love DJ. I love DJ so much. If it's any consolation, the chief of police that sparked the initial cause for the protest died during the riot. We've had live shows of his torture ever since. Yes, Luna, this is a visual novel, and it's one that one of my friends was making. I know I have the repurpose command here, but yeah, my friends made this game. It has been in production for quite a while. Actually, one of the reasons why this game is really near and dear to me is because I came out as non-binary a while ago. But it was initially back when we were all in the same tabletop group chat of things. And Arrows put out the demo for this game within the same week that I had not only realized that I was non-binary, but came out to my family and to my friend group. And one of my first bits of getting to experience non-binary characters, like proper non-binary characters, were in this game, in the form of DJ Roadkill herself too. There was also not long after, although I believe this was during the Kickstarter and not the initial demo portion. But it was around the time when Steven Universe Future was coming out. Was when I got to see, like, hey, you got Shep on the screen as well, who is also non-binary. I mean, you did have Stevani, but I don't think they ever made a point to mention that Stevani was non-binary. I know that Shep was the out and about non-binary one on Steven Universe Future. But yeah, that and the demo for this were pretty close to the time where I came out as non-binary. In fact, the demo for this game itself came out the same week that I let my friends know that I was non-binary. It was already in production of all the stuff with the LGBTQ community on this was already in production at the time. So me coming out to my friend group as I am not at all saying oh, DJ's non-binary because I am. It was just a funny coincidence of that. But it was I do specifically remember the demo for this coming out later that same week. And I do remember just absolutely bawling in Eris's messages, of just feeling so so seen. But yeah. So I've been a supporter of Repurpose ever since. The moment that I learned that it was on, the moment that I learned that the Kickstarter started, I went to back it. Went to back it at like some of the higher tiers too of it, because I really wanted to see some of the stuff with this. And I wanted to let people see it, and I wanted to let people to see what an amazing job my friends were doing with this. Several of the characters that you even run into here are repurposed from the old friend group that we were in. One moment. And yeah, it's I know Ramon, Calais, and Rosita. At the very least, Ramon and Calais were repurposed. There's some other characters that you will run into later on in this. Also, for the people who want to get this, I'm actually going to be going down one route at a time of things, and I've already decided what decided which route I'm going through the first time around. I am going through DJ's route and getting to explore some things. But I will, the moment that I am done with going on DJ's route, this is absolutely going to be like an annual thing that I stream, especially during February, of just going through as many of the routes that I can with this. But yeah. We've had live shows of his torture ever since. Come to hell and I can get us front row seats for the next showtime. Blech.
I have a weak stomach, so no thanks. Though, knowing the fucker went to the place I always curse him to go to does make me feel a bit better.
It was then the waitress's turn. Rosita Cardenas. Time of death, February 15th, 2019. In the heat of the lunch rush at 12:38 p.m. Your cause of death was... Oh.
By the choir, have mercy!
Accidentally worsening a gas leak because of sleep deprivation that resulted in a fatal kitchen explosion? And that explains why you're covered in soot.
Please, forgive me.
Official cause of death, smoke inhalation. How reckless. We can't divulge whether or not there were other casualties besides yourself, but a fire that big... Well, you can use your imagination as to how many people were left medium to well done. Calais gave Ramon a stern look, seeing as the demon's morbid humor wasn't welcome with Rosita. One at a time, they shared the causes of death to those that had asked for it. From freak accidents, to diseases, to murder. One of the main consistent themes was many of us were young adults. Hey, what about me? I finally managed to get a word in near the end. Oh, you? Let's see here. Calais closed his eyes, calmly searching through his mind for my answer. His face scrunched up disapprovingly. Yeah, that's weird. I can't seem to find your time or cause of death at all. What about you, Ramon? Yeah, no, me neither. It's all blacked out and redacted. I loathe it when higher-ups do that fake shit.
How very interesting.
How odd. Must have been a pretty brutal and traumatic death if we're not allowed to be privy to that information. In all my time as an X-Squad, I've yet to see someone like you show up. Makes me wonder. So sorry, Strap. Neither of these two know how I died? Also, yes, you do get to choose how you want to go for this. I will let on certain bits, I will actually allow you guys to choose which option we go with on this. For right now, though. Also, Luna, aren't you in the middle of a stream? For now, though, we're going with the options that I know get us better bits. That's all right. If it's possibly as traumatic as the demon says, maybe it's better if I don't know. And even if I did, there's no changing what's done, right? So, I just gotta accept it. Calais looked surprised by my optimism.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Mad respect, bruh. Way to keep a positive attitude.
I don't know. This is all a lot to take in all at once. I just died after all. Now I'm in Eden, within some place called Limbo. I should take it slow and weigh my options before settling on anything. Well, if there aren't any more questions. Suddenly, a horde of people began to close tighter around the stage, people's concerns rising above one another as they tried to get the speaker's attention.
Oh dear.
Hey! One at a time, please! Ramon, could you? Just as Calais was going to finish his sentence, a muffled song started to chime from Ramon's pocket, and he pulled out his phone. His eyes went wide, and he began to walk off stage.
Hasta luego.
Cover for me, would you, Lay? I gotta go take this phone call real quick. Okay, thanks, bye. Without so much as letting Calais get a word in, he was gone. The angel sighed, clearly annoyed by this development.
Oh, Lord, give me strength.
He took a deep breath to calm his nerves and addressed the crowd before him. I should follow Ramon. I don't really trust a demon on their own. Nothing of interest was catching my attention from the conversation. Just a bunch of people poking and prodding Calais on his first day on the job. Had a few more questions to ask Ramon anyway. And, low-key, I was a little curious as to why he suddenly excused himself. I managed to slip away unnoticed while the other humans kept Calais' attention occupied. I never noticed it before, but for the supposedly lush Garden of Eden, there is barely any fruit or vegetation in sight. However, despite that, and the moody atmosphere of Limbo, it was still pretty beautiful. Flowers were abundant and lined the paths of the garden, so much so that I had to catch myself from sneezing. Finally, I was able to catch up with Ramon, who looked visibly distressed as he paced around while on the phone. That's just the way she is, mijo. You don't mean that. I know your mother can be pretty abrasive. Oh, that means mean. But she and I still love you very much. Can we talk about this once I'm back?
I love you. Will you say it back for me? Oh. Alright. See you then.
Just as he hung up the phone, the sneeze I had been holding in for so long had finally escaped. Very loudly at that. Startled by the noise, Ramon turned around and noticed I was right behind him. I still wish I know why they can't use it. I still wish that the sound alert for the Metal Gear Solid alert went off the ding bit, but I also don't understand why they aren't able to do that. What? Expecting me to say bless you? More importantly, how long were you eavesdropping? I didn't hear anything. Good. I'm not sure what that phone call was all about, but it was in my best interest to feign ignorance. I was more concerned about my own at the moment. I just had a few questions to ask about my death. His frown curved back into a smile. Frankly, so do I.
How very interesting.
All the mystery behind it has made you the most exciting of the bunch so far. Really now? Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. He winked at me, and I could feel my cheeks burn up as he took a step forward towards me. He was tall and imposing as he loomed over me. I should have felt threatened, but I stood my ground against him. Be it from determination, fear, or something else, I'm unsure. Well, I faked a cough into my fist to break this weird tension. Ramon loosened up, probably taking the hint. Is it true I can find out the way I died in hell? That's right. Heaven, or Utopia as the angels call it, plays the role of an overprotective father and would keep that information from you. But not in hell. Information and knowledge are at the fingertips of people like you who wish to seek it out. For the right price, of course. That being, like I said before, all you need to get what you want is to hand yourself over to me. To hell, I mean. I'm just the escort who will take you there. Why didn't you just phrase it like that in the first place? So, what does that entail exactly? By relinquishing yourself to hell, you're giving the biggest middle finger to Utopia and all its high and mighty ideals. Under Lucifer's creed, except that we are all flawed, narcissistic creatures that desire to be bad in all the right ways to make their god angry. It doesn't necessarily make you a bad person, just one that likes to party. So, what do you say, Strap? I need to think about it. Take your time. Though, word to the wise, hell can be pretty difficult to navigate without a friend. And it could take years, maybe decades to get your death report. Even longer if you waste time failing to get into Utopia. It's hell after all. It'd be a disservice if we didn't make you suffer just a little bit. I see. It was kind of a bummer. Not knowing exactly how and why I ended up here has made the experience all the more devastating for me. How would I cope in the meantime if it did take years to finally get my death report? But consider it a signing bonus if you choose to come with me within the next few days. I'll be waiting by the hotel lobby to ferry the first batch of humans looking to leave. Wait, hotel? You can't miss it. It's the only building in town that doesn't look like it's going to complete shit yet. I have to admit, the demon's offer was tempting. We should be heading back now. That angel is probably getting his ass eaten dealing with some of the more rowdy humans. Right. With that, Ramon and I trekked back to rejoin the group. Seems like things had died down by the time we got back. Clay looked almost happy to see Ramon return. But soon his gaze panned over to me.
Is that why you left? What a snake you are. And in this very garden, no less.
History likes to repeat itself, but I jest. I found them here after I finished my phone call wandering around aimlessly. Not much of a guardian angel now, are you?
That's a completely different job from a shepherd. Ramon stifles a laugh with his palm while Calais continues to be annoyed by his antics. Don't quite understand why he felt the need to lie just now. Did he do it just to cover for me, or for his own sake? Maybe he just wanted to ruffle Calais' uptight feathers. Still. Seeing the way his grin peeks at the corners, barely visible from only this angle, I can't help but smile too. After a few more questions from the crowd, and teasing from Ramon, Calais started to wrap things up. Well, no thanks to you. I was able to finish up orientation for today. Any humans that are interested in Utopia can make a line starting here so I can register you. A swarm of people crowded around Calais, practically drowning him.
By the choir, have mercy!
Whoa! Oh, a single file line if you can, please. Also, if I don't get to you today, I am returning tomorrow.
And all the people that want to party in hell, just head towards the one non-shitty looking hotel building in the city and ride the elevator down.
Just like that feather brain. I'll be around tomorrow for those last-minute stragglers as well.
See you soon!
Surprisingly, there were some people who walked out of the garden along with Ramon. And there were also a few uncertain folks lingering where they stood as well. Namely, those three from earlier.
Ah, jeez. This is all so much to take in. I don't know what to do.
Well, I, for one, am going to Limbo.
Huh? I thought you said you were going to follow the angel.
Oh, for sure. I just want to see if I can scavenge some stuff while I'm down here. Plus, I'm just curious to see what it looks like. Learn as much as I can about this place and how it works before moving on.
Same here, yo. I bet it's not even as bad as those two had hyped it up to be if this garden is anything to go off of. Let's check it out.
I'm curious as well. Mind if I tag along?
Strap, was it?
Okay. That was Mitz who did that. Sorry. Strap, was it?
Yeah, you can come with.
Hooray! Hooray!
The more the merrier, my dad always said.
With that, we turned heels and made our way out of the garden. The four of us navigated through the garden for the exit. It was a bit tricky, almost maze-like, but Mitz suggested following the murmurs of the Hell group to find the exit. Once we were out of it, we were instantly met with a sight none of us were expecting. Before our eyes was what looked like a desolate city. Buildings and homes were in a state of poor management, rusting, falling apart at the seams. Trash littered across the eroded streets of the city, and any sort of sun was hidden behind dense, moody clouds. It gave off a depressing and impoverished lifestyle should any of us want to live here.
Seems like they weren't lying, huh?
No kidding. What a dump, yeah. I can hardly imagine anyone wanting to live in a place like this. Instantly, DJ Roadkill hopped on all our cases.
Come on, man.
Hey, wait a minute! This?
DJ Roadkill pointed behind themselves toward the rundown city.
I literally used to live in a place not too different from this. Sure, it looks like a couple of riots came through it, but I hardly call this place an unhabitable dump. Can't judge a book by its cover, or some shit like that. I guess you have a point. With a little renovation, it'd be half as nice as where I used to live.
You got me there.
I mean, I found a few diamonds in the rough back in my day digging through my neighbor's garbage.
My dad used to make furniture. My dad used to make furniture from trash. Were you poor too?
Not really. My family was pretty well off middle class. The more bougie people in my neighborhood would just toss shit out without much care, so I would swipe any electronic appliances for my inventions.
Wasteful fucks throwing perfectly good stuff away when they could donate it.
Right on.
Honestly, I couldn't agree with that more. Hence why I stole whatever I found useful. Well, can you really call it stealing if they don't want it anymore? Facts. Facts, facts, facts. Also another fact. Is it really piracy if buying isn't owning? Food for thought.
I don't think so. But my dad almost got arrested for taking a table our neighbors were tossing away.
That's dumb.
It was pretty dark that night, and the table was really heavy that my dad knocked over all the trash bins. He tried to apologize by going to the backyard to wake them up through the bedroom window, but they didn't seem to appreciate that.
I don't think anyone would, honestly. And that fascinating tale of accidental trespassing aside, I noticed something. Hey, where'd Mitz go? Rosita, DJ Roadkill, and I looked around and saw that Mitz had walked off into the city, waving a backhanded goodbye with her good hand.
Aw, here I thought we'd be sticking together. I guess it's just us three.
Rosita turned her head, and DJ Roadkill had disappeared now too. They'd scampered off to follow Mitz. And they hollered at us.
Let's split up and regroup later. Cover more ground and whatever.
Without giving either of us a word in, Mitz and DJ Roadkill's figures vanish into the streets.
Rude!
Aww.
It's just you and me then, Strap. Promise you won't leave me either?
I have a much better chance of survival tagging along with someone. We're in a completely unfamiliar and different realm of existence after all. A partner at my side didn't sound so bad. Yeah, sure, why not? We can stick together for a while.
Yay!
Let's go then!
Rosita and I made our way through the city. For a fairly large town, it was pretty empty of citizens. And the people we did come across didn't seem to want anything to do with us. Occasionally, we saw some things lurking around corners and inside buildings. But we kept our distance and went unnoticed. Still, Rosita clung to my arm like at a moment's notice, one of us would fall or lose sight of the other. Not to mention, she would practically lift me up when we ran from even the mildest of noises. Despite her demeanor, Rosita was pretty fit from the way she hauled me around the distances. I asked her to pull over for a moment so we could take a breather. I was exhausted from all the exploring, so we looked to take shelter inside one of the abandoned stores. She took an overview of our surroundings, and then audibly gasped, gripped my wrist once more, and led me into a small building. A restaurant?
OMG! This place! It's an authentic 1920s Swedish Chicks Diner trademark establishment!
How can you tell?
I worked at one of the recreations of these restaurants. The recreations play up the retro vibe to 100 with checkers, neon, and metal. But the first few diners were just simple, small, family-run eateries in Northern California. Then, in the 1970s, Henry Sweets sold the brand, and by the end of the 90s, there were Swedish Shakes on half the street corners in the US and parts of Canada. It was all in the instructional 2-hour-long documentary feature employees were required to take a test run for the job.
I know some jobs have some weird requirements to meet before applying, but that's just ridiculous.
Beats needing past experience for an entry-level job at other places. And they gave me free popcorn to munch on during the movie. It was a little stale, though. But I'm not going to say no to free food.
Fair enough, I guess. I took a seat at one of the booths. It wasn't particularly comfortable, and something was preventing me from resting my back against the cushions. Digging around the ripped open leather, I found a set of keys hidden within it. These must be keys to the diner or something. Little good it would do now, after already looking around, little good it would do now since, after already looking around, doors were either missing or withered enough that a good shove could bypass any lock. Still, I decided to pocket the keys for now. Maybe I can find some other use for them later. One moment, guys. Alright, sorry about that. Back now. Alright, let's continue with this then. Rosita skipped through the employees-only kitchen door, and I could hear the rustle of metal and boxes being moved from here. I decided to rest my eyes for a bit, dreariness starting to take over as my palms cradled my head over the table. What time was it even? Is time even relevant in Limbo? I doubted it. There wasn't anything resembling a sun in the sky despite there being light. Just clouds for miles on end. Limbo was meant to be a temporary holding place for humans like Rosita and I ascended or descended. Limbo was meant to be a temporary holding place before humans like Rosita and I ascended or descended with one of the immortals. As rare as it was for someone like me or Rosita to end up here, It'd have to be modestly big to hold even to even hold like 100,000th of a percent of the deaths that happen a year. Before I could further bore myself with the math, Rosita had come back, a tray in hand and a big cheery smile.
Ding ding ding! Order up! One late night crunch special!
For a mixed strap.
She set the plate in front of me and slid in the seat across from me with an empty glass and straw. I looked down at my food and... Rosita?
Yeah?
What is this?
It's a sausage and hash brown skillet, silly! It got the nickname Late Night Crunch because it's super popular with the college students. Legend on my campus has it that a student ate this every day before their exams, and they would get flawless marks. It's like a good luck ritual. Though I think my manager just made that up to get more customers from my college.
Probably.
Doesn't mean it wasn't delicious. Dig in.
Rosita then began to sip from her clearly empty glass and hummed whimsically. Alright, and this is the one where... So, fun fact with this. Eros had, during the initial demo of this game, Eros had to actually go and live edit the demo and get it back up again because people kept eating the food for the same reason, because none of us wanted to upset her. Like, this food is clearly bad. It's clearly not meant for consumption. And what we were meant to do, like, originally we just had, like, pretend to eat the meal and eat the food. I don't even think politely decline was on it. This option here had to get edited because people kept eating the food because we didn't want to upset Rosita. I took a rusted knife and fork in hand, cutting myself a sizable portion of the late night crunch. Bringing it so close to my mouth, Rosita's expression began to change from one of whimsy to that of alarm.
Wait, Strap, I didn't mean...
But it was too late. I had stuck the food into my mouth, and in an instant, the inevitable happened. It tasted like actual shit if I ever had it. I got up from the booth and ran to the closest trash can, Rosita following behind. It tasted just as bad coming out the way it came in. Maybe even worse.
What were you thinking, Strap?
Truly, what was I thinking putting actual fried garbage into my mouth? In between retches, I managed to form out a response. Yep, and this is the bit that got edited into here. I told her I ate it because... I didn't want to disappoint you. I heard her sigh and crouched down next to me.
Aww.
She rubbed my back soothingly to comfort me as I finished upchugging whatever I had left in my stomach.
Still, you shouldn't have eaten that. That plate was clearly bad. I may have been a better waitress in life than a cook, but I like to think I can manage to make something edible from time to time. Plus, I know we're already, like, dead, but what would happen if you got really sick from that? Or even worse, poisoned to death? Where do we go if we died twice?
I managed to pull myself and Rosita back up before she started crying again. Hey, I'm alright, see?
Are you sure?
Could use some water to wash out the gross taste in my mouth, but I'll manage.
Oh, for sure! We should get going anyway. I think it's starting to actually get dark out.
Rosita was right. It did look a little dimmer outside, so it was best to skedaddle and try to find the others. She flipped the restaurant's sign to closed on the way out. After some time walking in silence with her arms hooked, she hugged a little closer to me. I turned my head to see if she was okay or needed a break.
Hey,
Was she blushing?
Aww.
thanks for going along with me earlier. I never would have thought someone would go so far as to eat garbage for me.
You're really sweet. And I really needed a friend right now.
Friends? We may have just met, but that didn't sound too bad, to be honest. A friend like Rosita in this kind of world, heck, even on Earth, sounds fine to me. Rosita and I were in what looked like to be a downtown area. Like the buildings we explored before, most were inaccessible, empty, or had some shady-looking figures inhabiting them. All except this shopping mall center. In contrast to everything else, it was teeming with life, built around a river with the cleanest-looking water I'd ever seen. I knelt down and scooped up some water into my hands to take a sip, thirsty from all the wandering. It actually tasted pretty clean. It was cool and refreshing on my tongue, like I'd taken a swig from a chilled bottle of water. As tempting as it was to drink some more, I saw some residents taking a bath in the river a distance from us. So the invasive thought of people using the mall river with the same amount of respect as a community pool turned me off for now. Because, you know.
People piss in those.
While I was busy thinking about that, I ended up losing Rosita, who had wandered off on her own. I doubted she would leave the area entirely, and with the amount of pink on her, she was hard to miss either. Most of the stores within the mall operated by trade instead of some form of currency. Being relatively new here, I didn't have much on me except for some keys I had found back at Sweetie Shake's. Not that anything really piqued my interest per se. Except...
Oh, come on! You gotta sell me that thing!
And that sounded like Mitts. I followed the sound of her voice. So I want to double check the Okay, yeah. H is hide the text window, so I can actually show you guys the stuff. I followed the sound of her voice and found her looking pretty cross at the vendor. From the looks of it, she was trying to buy something off the vendor and looking pretty desperate to convince him. Good little look at Mitts too, by the way, guys.
Tut lady. This sweet robot toy we got goes for at least 3 juice boxes. Your Earth money is no good here, even if it's a crisp hundo. Paper money is as good as toilet paper in my domain.
How about you just take the whole wallet? Is that enough?
Hell am we supposed to do with a dinky wallet like that? Can't carry anything in it. But that's a lot of fancy toys you have strapped to your belt there. Much fancier than this one we traded for.
He nodded to her tool belt and reached to touch a hammer. Mitts took a step back.
Back off, dude. You can't have any of my tools. If I gave you any of them, it would render the whole reason I wanted the toy pointless.
Then we're done here. Scrap!
Mitts did not look happy at all by this. All this for a silly kid's plaything? Hey, Mitts.
What's up?
Strap! Great timing! You got anything I can trade this bozo for his robot toy?
Why?
I need it so I can take it apart and use the scrap to build myself a new hand. I'm right-handed, and this incredible brain is useless without 2 functioning hands to tinker.
Well, I got an idea or two on how you can put that pretty little head of yours to good work.
Beg pardon?
Uh-oh. Looks like Mitts was about to throw down with the vendor. He didn't seem too tough, pretty scrawny at that. Suddenly, something grabbed me and Mitts by the back collar and lifted us inches off the ground. I looked behind me to see several tall, lily-white tank-top men surrounding us. There a problem here? Wanted to show them out, Mr. Hordes?
Yes, fellas, if you would be so kind. These broke bitches don't have anything of value to trade with us. Dispose of them at once.
Wait! Mitz looked over to me frantically for any idea on how to get the toy from the man. Also, there are bad options that you can choose here as well. Like this one. And choosing this will also mess around with things. And I'm trying to decide because there is a scene that I want to try. You know what? We'll do it like... I think there's already a video up. Shit, I should have watched the old video that I had of this. Because there is a video that I have up on the archive channel that shows one of the options that I am going to be doing. And I forget which one I chose with that. I feel like I offered it to Mitz because I wanted to show off like the hey, be good to everyone that you can. Shit, I forget. I'll offer the keys. It's a long shot, but how about some keys? I managed to reach into my pocket and pulled out the keys, jingling them and hoping hordes would be enticed. One of the men scoffed. What use would Mr. Hordes have for those? Hordes raised his hand, and the man immediately silenced. We accept your offer. What, seriously? Even Mitch was surprised by this, as Hordes swiped the keys from my hand, and the men put us back down. Dost thou judge our judgment? Foolish! Ask the king of this dump. We can find use in the most shitty of garbage. Like how these keys can make for a wonderful makeshift pair of brass knuckles. He punched at the air around him to demonstrate. And once he realized how silly he must have looked, he returned to his usual ridiculous kingly composure and tossed the toy for Mitch to catch. Anyways, yeah, the robot is all yours. I got bored of it a week ago. Now beat it! We did just that. And the whole time, Mitch was beaming with energy while already taking apart the toy.
Thank you so much!
Strap!
I promise. If you're in Haven Home, I'll make it up to you.
God, would be really nice, but sorry, Mitz, I'm not going to Haven Home. Hey, it's no problem. I doubt those keys would have come in handy since traditional door locks are obsolete here. Would have made a decent weapon like the guy said, though. She then swooped in and gave me a great big hug. A really, really tight hug. Like, I think my lungs are collapsing. Mitz, I need air. 3 more seconds. 1, 2, 3. She let go, and the air never tasted so good. Oh, come on, you big baby. I wasn't even using half of my strength. And that was only half. I don't want to experience you at full power. Only if you ask nicely. She laughed, and I blushed. Mitz was pretty strong, and I bet she could break me in half if she really wanted to. You know, even if those other guys were pretty huge, I bet you could have taken them on solo. Maybe if it was just 1 or 2, but we were pretty outnumbered. And I really don't like having to use these sweet muscles for anything other than hauling machinery, or as a last resort. As easy as it is to brute force my way to a solution, I'm an innovator, not an instigator. Though, I'm glad you came in clutch back there, bud. So, thanks. I owe you one, Strap. I'll keep that in mind if I need a hand down the line. Wait.
Funny.
That was an accident, I swear. Haha, you asshole. Sure it was. Mitz giggled at my attempt to save face, so I decided to change the subject. You're an engineer or something? A robotics engineer specifically. But I've dabbled into other sciences. Too, like IT. What kind of stuff have you made? Her eyes lit up. I may have died at age 25, but ever since I was a teen, I've been building and innovating tech. Like, when I was 14 and still in the egg, I was super into skateboarding, but the homophobic kids in my neighborhood never wanted to play with me. So, I made myself a functioning hoverboard to one-up my neighbors. I was still young, so I didn't know exactly how to make it energy efficient. It took a whole week to charge for less than an hour of play. But the look on those fuckboys getting shredded by the neighborhood twink was well worth the grinding my dad gave me when the power bill came in. That's amazing, Mitz. Mitz instantly blushed from my praise. After that, Mitz and I continued to browse the mall to see what we could find. We walked around some more, Mitz still on the hunt to find something to trade for her hand replacement. Sadly, technology was fairly sparse in Limbo from what I'd seen, and the ones that did catch her eyes were way out of our price range. That being 0. In hindsight, we should have expected that. I feel like I'm in the 1800s. Hopefully Haven Homes is at least in the 90s. I'll even take the 80s or 70s. I'm that desperate. Rosita mentioned that one of the buildings we inspected was an original diner from the 1920s. So, I doubt there's anything too modern to be found. Figures. I found some folks dancing to Louis Armstrong around a gramophone earlier with Roadkill. Speaking of them, where are they? Don't know. Last time I saw them, they scampered off to join those people dancing around the phone. You should probably look for them. Earlier, we ran into someone that was a fan of theirs and would let us crash at her place for the night while we all figured out what we want to do. DJ Roadkill is a fan here? What are the odds of an encounter like that? About 0.00000000037%. I did the math in my head when it happened. While I'm cautious about that 1 in a billion, it's better option than possibly getting jumped in our sleep by someone or something dangerous. That makes sense. Where did you say this group of Louis Armstrong stands were? In the parking lot area east from here. It's where we came in from. I think Rosita and I came in from the main west entrance. Where is she now? She got distracted and wandered off. I'm sure she's still floating around here somewhere. Good. I'll track her down and we can all regroup then. I nodded and headed towards the east entrance of the shopping center. It seems like the Louis Armstrong worshippers had left with the record still playing. Shame. I actually kind of wanted to see that. I took a few steps into the parking lot when I heard someone call out for my attention.
Hey!
They made those noises someone makes when you're trying to beckon a cat your way. I made my way over to them. DJ Roadkill, was it?
DJ Roadkill, DJ RK, yada yada yada. Whatever works best for you. I know it can be a mouthful.
From now on, I'm gonna call them DJ. And I'll call you DJ from now on. Alright, cool. But listen, I managed to get the 4 of us a place to sleep for the night. I'm hoping y'all would hear me out about what I had in mind before trying to split ways. Ah, that's right. DJ was the one person who wasn't fond of the options Ramon and Calais gave. But we can talk about that together later. Right now, I totally gotta show you the place where we're gonna stay at. Where is it? You'll see soon enough. So I followed DJ as they merrily led the way to this supposed place. For only being here less than a day, DJ sure moved around these streets as if they lived here their whole life. On the way there, we passed by what looked like a small community that had made their homes in some of the more intact buildings. The atmosphere seemed relatively less somber and gloomy in comparison to the rest of the town, but only by so much. We stopped right in front of a church? Somehow, you don't strike me as the religious type. I'm not. Or I wasn't until I woke up in the literal Garden of fucking Eden. Really? I'm still 50-50 on everything that's going on. But that's not the reason I brought you here. DJ hopped up the stairs and I followed. Their hand rested on the church's door handle.
Check this shit out.
They gave the handle a good yank, and I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. From the outside, it looked like an ordinary church. But the inside? The inside was completely different. What was once a church had been remodeled into a nightclub.
beautiful stained glass windows illuminated the dance floor along with an elegant chandelier, furthering the strange clash of motifs to the other. And despite all that, it still somehow managed to be the most normal-looking place I had encountered today. Well,
Dope, huh?
DJ's voice seemed to be coming from above me, and when I looked up, I saw them hanging upside down from the chandelier's hoop. I'm genuinely at a loss for words. And when the fuck did you get up there?
Who cares? I've seen my fair share of nightclubs when I was alive, but this is definitely on my top 10 list.
And they expertly swung themselves up in the ceiling and back to the ground with ease.
Faye, the owner, renovated this place with the help of some of the neighborhood people. It's meant to give the residents and their leader in Limbo a bit of pleasure every now and again. She lives in hell, but has some visa or whatever and brings stuff over from there to here when she can. She's also a total cougar, but unromanceable unless the Kickstarter stretch goal is met.
Didn't we hit that stretch goal, actually?
What?
What? Anyway. She sounds pretty cool. Where is she?
She's off visiting some of the residents. She said I could perform tonight if I set up the equipment myself. Mind helping me out? Please? Just kidding. You don't have a choice unless you want to sleep elsewhere.
With no option to say no, I guess I helped DJ. With no option to say no, I guess I helped DJ set up the stage for tonight's performance. Well, we worked. DJ and I made conversation. Well, it was more DJ talking about whatever came to their mind, and me just nodding my head trying to figure out what cable goes where. For a dystopian-looking town, electricity outlets all seem to be functional. I believe dim lighting in most places comes from the lack of working appliances to light up areas. Candles, however, were pretty abundant, and in the club's case, worked to its aesthetic. DJ sure looked right at home at that. DJ Roadkill. That can't be their actual name, right? I mean, it's the one the demon used for them back in the garden, but... and that weird mask that they never seem to take off. I just had to ask. Now give me one moment because I actually always forget this. And I should remember to have the bit from Arrows pulled up. But give me one moment because I need to pull up the messages from myself and Arrows to see. It's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be on the, no, I don't want that. Give me one moment, guys, because I need to switch to my personal account to go and find it then. Okay. Okay. This wanting to make sure that I got it right. I'm gonna ask about the name. So, what is your real name, if you don't mind me asking?
Nunya.
Nunya?
Nunya business.
I walked right into that one.
My mother's middle name is Dam, so it's Nunya Dam business on my birth certificate. I know what you're thinking, and yes, filling out paperwork is always hilarious.
I get the feeling they don't want to say. Should I push harder for TJ's name? No. I decided not to press any further and instead asked about something a little different. So, how did you come up with the stage name?
Oh, I just came up with it when I hit a rabbit on the road one night.
Oh. Well, that was anticlimactic.
But, like, it got me thinking on my way back home. Like how fleeting and random life is. I was the only car on the road that night, and that poor bunny rabbit was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. If it had just crossed the road a few seconds later, or if I had driven just a little faster, that little dude would still be alive. You know? Its life was changed forever in just one completely random instance. It made me really appreciate the life I have. Or had, I guess.
Was it just me? Or did they sound a bit sad there? Maybe I should change the subject. What was this plan you wanted to discuss with the others?
It's better to talk about when the others are here. But basically, I just think that, like, we shouldn't jump into the arms of the first person we meet.
Nope. That's forcing a thing to pop up that I don't want to pop up.
Even if they are some finest fuck angel or demon. You know what I mean?
Kinda, I guess. After that, it was back to DJ mindlessly rambling on with no filter until we finished setting up the stage. Some time had passed, and I noticed through the window that it was the equivalent of nighttime outside. The sky remained cloudy and vacant of any moon or stars in sight. It was to be expected. I doubted either of those would exist in Limbo. I suppose it's just another thing I'm going to miss from the living world. I gave a weary sigh at the thought, and took a seat in one of the pews. Even with all the shenanigans I had endured today, I couldn't help but feel somber. My life as I knew it was over. I couldn't even properly lament my own death, as I had no recollection of the events leading up to it, to make matters worse. God. The reality of mine and the other situation was starting to hit me harder than before. I threw my head back when I heard the church doors open, bringing my pity party to an end for the moment. Here's Rosita and Mitz, with another person right behind them. Faye, probably? I may be depressed, but I wasn't going to be rude and not introduce myself to our host for the night. I pushed myself up to my feet whether I wanted to greet them or not. You're Faye, right? Faye was a tall, slender woman, with dark hair and a streak of silver that ran down from the side of their angular face. I couldn't tell if the silver was from dye or natural, but for the sake of avoiding asking a woman what her age is, I kept it to myself. A likely smart idea. Despite that, by no means did she look old. Mature, sure, but she made it work. Oh boy, does she make it work.
Faye Bale, but you can call me Faye. My, this place looks far from heavenly. Not that that's an insult, no. It's something to be, dare I say, praised?
DJ hopped down from the stage towards us full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah, tonight is gonna be lit!
Uh-huh.
Is now really a good time to party? May as well. We don't know what we don't know what the future will hold for the four of us tomorrow. Why not throw a killer rave for the dead? But I'm not dressed for a rave. I doubt anyone will be, honestly.
Oh, no. You have that all wrong. We all looked at her. During my visits here, I tend to bring an assortment of daily necessities for the residents. That includes clothing. They may not be designer and a little worn out, but everyone has at least one or two Sunday bests in their possession they save for special occasions. However, this time, I didn't bring anything extra to donate for you. But I will gladly loan you some of mine. Just for tonight, though, since they're my personal outfits.
That's so sweet of you! Told you you were cool.
Yeah, thanks for everything you've given us. It's much appreciated given our circumstances. She smiled warmly for us. Well, most of us.
Actually,
How do you get all those supplies here? I'd imagine it can't be easy, let alone safe, to try to support a whole town of citizens.
DJ looked up at Mitz and nudged her.
Mitz! Why are you trying to look a mouth horse in the gift? That's not how that expression goes, and I think I'm pretty justified in being suspicious since she's... from hell? Yes. Mitz? No need to defend me, DJ. I can understand why Miss Mitz would question my unwavering kindness. especially considering I'm from the big bad place under the ground, so I must have a malicious ulterior motive, right? None of us have heard anything good about hell or the demons who run it.
She wasn't wrong. More often than not, hell and demons are attributed with evil connotations and intentions. Sure, there were a few pieces of work that tried to be transformative and make hell, demons, and Lucifer turn to be a complex, misunderstood antagonist. Paradise Lost. But if you asked anyone what they thought hell would be, their first thought would be fire, brimstone, and the scum of the earth being punished in agony for eternity for their sins.
Faye sighed in disappointment.
That's Utopia's propaganda ad work for you. Don't assume that everyone in hell is a bad person. Some were dealt a bad hand in life, never receiving the help they truly needed to better themselves. Others simply enjoy their lives to the fullest, that a good Christian believer could only fantasize about.
I just want to keep showing off like the art here.
And some just don't quite fit into that black and white criteria Utopia has created to screen people like yourselves. Hence, why you stand here in this plane of existence between realms today.
Mintz kept quiet, looking a bit ashamed, like a child being chastised by her parents. Faye's expression softened once more.
Not everyone in hell is a bad person. There are very bad people in it, but that doesn't make me or anyone else inherently evil. To vouch and answer your question, most of these supplies are donated from citizens in hell. How I am able to bring them here? I suppose you could say I have a permit to move through Limbo and hell when needed.
Mintz kind of squinted at that last part.
A permit? DJ jumps back into the conversation. Hey! Mouth, horse, gift! And the semantics of everything would take too long to go over.
Mintz shrugged, letting the topic go. It looked like she wanted to say more, but stopped for DJ's sake.
Especially since we have a party to throw tonight. Woohoo! Party! Yeah! Now we're talking! My room is right down the corridor to the right. It's the big mahogany door, you can hardly miss it. Now, see if you can find an outfit suited for your tastes.
We followed the directions as told and found the room with no problem. For the most part, it still looked like an office with amenities for comfortable living. There was a futon rolled up in the corner that looked barely used next to the wardrobe where I assumed tonight's loners were stored. Many of the bookshelves remained, but I couldn't help but notice that some of the titles were not exactly the most religious. From storybooks, young adult novels, literary classics, to comic books, to some more adult-themed literature. I flipped to one of the books. Yep, it's porn all right. At the beginning of the book, I noticed a pocket with a note in it. Return to Faye by next arrival. Maybe this room doubled as a library? Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder.
What you reading there?
DJ's grip on my shoulder tightened.
Whoa! Faye, you minx. This is some kinky shit. Hand-holding? How lewd. Not that I'm gonna judge.
Good thing she's romanceable now thanks to the Kickstarter, huh?
Oh yeah! Thank you to all the backers. Y'all are real MVPs.
With that wall break finished, they went back to searching through the wardrobe with the others. Personally, I couldn't give much care as to what I would wear for the party tonight. A sense of gloom hung over me that was too hard to shake.
Hey, Strap, aren't you gonna pick out something too?
I shrugged. I'll just wear whatever is left, honestly.
That's no good. We don't want them to feel left out, right guys?
Rosita looked over to Mitz and DJ, who almost had a full outfit already picked out, and Rosita frowned their way.
Right on.
Huh? Yeah, right. Come on and join us. We can help you pick something out that suits you for show.
They stood there, but kept their picks close to them regardless. I gave in and dug through the racks and drawers. What do I want to wear tonight? This is just what Strap normally wears, regardless. The blazer in particular caught my eye. It was a sleek, sophisticated black, paired with a turtleneck in my favorite color, minus the turtleneck, of course. Throw in some slim slacks and comfortable dress shoes, and it made me look pretty distinguished. The gang let me have first dibs change in the restroom. Once I came back, I did a turnaround for them, and they clapped approvingly.
Fancy! Yes, boss. You look like you're gonna print a product at me.
I couldn't help but blush as they all complimented me in one shape or another. It gave me a small boost of confidence that I really needed right about now. Thanks, you guys.
My turn! My turn! What? I thought I was next. Unless you want to change together? Sure, we're both girls. I'm not binary, actually. They, he pronouns. That's fine, too.
Oh, hey, I'm non-binary too.
Ah, sweet! Another envy, up top!
Hang on, that was a bad one.
Ah, sweet! Another envy, up top!
There we go. That sounded louder and actually hurt my hands. DJ gave me a high five.
Backtracking a bit, I'll hop in too and make sure Deej doesn't try anything. Like what? I wasn't. Not without anyone's consent, of course.
The three of them went to change in the bathroom together, and since I was already dressed, I felt it was polite to stay behind. One by one, they came out and showed off their outfits for the night. Rosita wore a simple bright yellow dress that brought out the highlights in her hair. I couldn't tell if DJ was going to hit the old town road or the club. Mitz kept it simple and comfortable with a layered look. You all look great. And they all thanked me in their own way when a knock came at the door.
A line is starting to form outside. You lot ready yet?
Yep.
Wonderful.
We all stepped back out into the hallway and made our way back to the main area. The whole atmosphere did a 180 from a sacred sanctuary to a poppin' nightclub with the flick of the lights. Residents of Limbo filled the room, and the quiet was immediately alive with the sound of excited chatter. DJ pieced out and hopped on stage, living up to his name, and started their show. Rosita dragged a reluctant Mitch to the dance floor to party it up, showing the other girl how to cut a rug. Everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves, us newcomers and residents alike, despite the circumstances. And yet...
Not much of a party killer, Strap.
It's not that.
Something on your mind?
I sighed wearily, and Faye smiled at me sympathetically.
Hey, come with me. I know a quieter place.
I blinked. Huh?
Just follow me, and you'll feel better. I promise.
Faye held my hand loosely, and I felt strangely compelled to follow them. She stopped in front of a confessional, a dim light flowing out from its windows. She opened the door on the right and led me through, and... a bar? No place really was sacred in this church/club. At least the lighting was less intense on the eyes. And the fruity aroma. From behind me, Faye popped open a bottle, some sort of sparkling wine, and with care, poured the champagne into 2 glasses in her other hand.
Apologies, but it looks like you could really use a drink.
I managed to laugh. Really? First turning the church into a nightclub, and now the confessional is a bar?
Now, and this is still a place of worship, in a sense. It's the Twilight Church, and we praise the night.
Faye walked behind the counter and gave it a little pat, beckoning me to take a seat. I obliged.
I enjoy playing bartender while the party goes on outside and listen to people spin me their yarns. They unload to me all their burdens, regrets, fears, and I give them my ear with a piece of guidance. And a side of the poison of their choice.
How kind of you.
You say that, but I've had my fair share of glasses thrown my way. Much like whiskey, my advice isn't the easiest to swallow.
Ah, I see. As we chatted, a small handful of people entered the bar. It seemed like we weren't the only ones who preferred a more low-key atmosphere. Faye didn't charge me or anyone for the drinks, saying it was a civil service they provided for clubgoers. Apparently, there were rules and regulations on the transportation of drink and food to Limbo. Utopia could only bring so much food into Limbo, though clearly not enough from the looks of some people. Hell, on the other hand, had an all-out ban on edible perishables. The demons higher up allowed Faye permission to carry things such as alcohol to be freely transported to and apparently from Limbo. There's a lot of politics that Faye spared me on the details. She patted my head and went on to serve the other clientele that wanted to wet their whistles. They all seemed somber, but would crack a smile just for Faye as she poured them a drink. Except for one raggedy blonde in particular. He seemed to just be in a bad mood, despite the little act of kindness.
Seems like more and more humans keep turning every day.
Give me one moment, guys.
It's a shame.
It's a bloody goddamn tragedy, that's what it is. And it's only gotten worse since Casey turned.
Oh dear. How did Honora take it?
Pretty fucking bad considering his Geist went on a rampage on her. Even after she begged me not to hurt him, even though he was long gone.
How awful. But you made the right call.
Really? Because it sure never feels like it after the fact.
Now, Noelle ma chérie.
It would be mon chéri now. Masculine.
Mon chérie. There's nothing else that can be done. Casey was a lost cause and was dragging Honora down with him. Most people that end up here in Limbo and don't pass to either side turn into Geists at some point.
This time was different, Faye! Casey was going to retake the Utopia trial with the new arrivals this week after 5 years of waiting!
Noel gestured over to me. I suppose he meant this Casey was planning on taking Utopia's test with us newcomers. And 5 years seemed to be the wait time between attempts to get into Utopia for humans of Limbo.
God! Why couldn't he just hold out a little while longer?
Faye sighed, more annoyed than anything.
To be blunt, I don't think it would have done Casey any good.
You shut your fucking mouth.
Noel got up too fast for me to see. I couldn't properly see it when I was sitting down across from the bar, but he had wings. Wings blacker than anything I've seen before. Light just disappeared into it, never to be seen again. They extended wide and intimidating, but Faye seemed unfazed.
Here we go again.
You don't know shit!
Oh. Well, what I do know is that you're trying to save the hopeless despite their apathy to change. Or the alternatives.
Literal fucking hell is hardly an alternative!
Better than trying to adhere to Utopia's high standards. The acceptance rate has dropped from what? 75% to 70% these last few years? Doesn't seem like much on paper, but those are still lives being denied.
I may not be as strong as I used to be, but I'll still beat your ass, Faye!
You keep saying that, but you've yet to lay a finger on me.
Too quick for my eyes, Noelle grabbed Faye by her loose sweater, and she had a look of genuine surprise in her eyes. Christ, what should I do? Hey, break it up, you two. You guys can see how the fight turned out on the original video over on the archive channel.
I didn't say anything wrong.
Hey, watch it.
You don't know whether or not Casey would have been able to pass the test. You aren't the choir. Faye cracked a smile and only made Noelle more pissed. He hadn't been causing trouble and was even helping me track down the stuff that greedy bozo horde stole from our village from under our watch. Blankets, food, clothes, and even stupid shit like toys of ours got jacked last week. Toys.
How about you just take the whole wallet? Is that enough? Hell am we supposed to do with a dinky wallet like that? Can't carry anything in it. But that's a lot of fancy toys you have strapped into your belts there. Much fancier than this one we traded for. Really? Is that what actually happened now?
Huh? Faye giggled. Faye giggled heartily, clearly amused, and I had an inkling why, remembering my interaction with hordes earlier.
That stuff Horde stole? Casey was the one who took it in the first place.
Noelle looked shocked.
You have such a tight lock on this village. Don't you think it's weird hordes of all people would be able to sneak in and out without so much as you noticing? So long as you're around watching over the few sane humans in the residential area, hordes wouldn't dare. He may be eccentric, mad even, but he still isn't stupid.
That doesn't prove anything.
Fine, but answer me this. Who was on guard duty that night? You or Casey?
Noelle kept quiet for a long time, scratching his head faster and faster as he probably recontextualized everything he thought he knew. He then suddenly sat down in his seat, fist banging so hard on the table I thought it would split in two. Motherfucker! He lied to me! Again! And for the very last time, it would seem. He looked so betrayed while he sat there, venting his frustration and biting down on his lips so hard I thought he would draw blood.
I know, baby.
Faye placed a hand on his back, but Noelle swatted it away. We just stood there in awkward silence for a good while, till Noelle lifted his head back up. Faye?
Yes?
Bring me your strongest shit. We're getting plastered tonight.
I'll be right back then.
I was about to leave when... You. Stay. Huh? Got some balls getting between us.
You know, most people either respect or fear that lady.
Which are you? Me? I can't fucking stand her, but she's the only one that has good booze here in Limbo. So a little bit of both, I guess. She scares you? Nothing really scares me much anymore, kid. But between you and me, I can't help but feel uneasy around her. Something's off? Noelle shrugged. I've been here in Limbo for a few centuries, and that woman's been visiting here for almost all of that. Humans that live for as long as she has can be a little kooky. Hordes is proof of that. He's been calling himself the King of Limbo, living in that mall with those fucking rats and tank top fellas of his. I've met him. Yeah, he's pretty weird. Total fucking nut jobs those two are, am I right? Noelle left, and then Faye reappeared.
Who's a nut?
You, of course. Well, didn't even try to hide it.
I've been called worse.
The rest of the night was relaxed as Faye served me and Noelle a few more drinks. By the time the club and bar closed for the night, I had forgotten all about my previous worries. I headed off to bed in one of those booths with the blanket Faye left for me. The reflective light shining from the broken stained glass above woke me when the morning came to. The others seemed to have risen before me and were cleaning up the mess the party left behind.
Finally! You're awake now. Good. Get up and help us clean this shit up.
It was the least we could do to thank Faye for letting us stay the night. I stretched my muscles and managed to get up on my feet. Thankfully, I didn't have a hangover despite drinking last night. I picked up a broom and joined Rosita, Mitz, and DJ in sweeping up the dance floor. Rosita, being a waitress and all, was no stranger to cleaning up messes left behind by others. She mopped the floor flawless to the point I swear I could see my reflection in it. DJ and I sorta swept everything into a trash bag. Where does trash even get thrown out? I asked DJ and they shrugged. We could always just burn it, but I don't think we want to worry about the environmental impact here in the afterlife. Mince was a little slower and would see if anything interesting was left over from last night. Rosita, who had finished early, helped her scavenge around the mess. Mitz had thrown her head back into a groan, so Rosita rubbed her back to try and help out. Once we were done, and I stopped over analyzing each person's cleaning like some weirdo, we took a break back in the pews.
So, Deej, you want to talk to us about some quote-unquote other options than what the angel and demon gave us? There's other options? Did I space out when they mentioned when they mentioned them?
Actually,
Technically, they did, and they didn't. Heaven, or Utopia, or hell were our only viable options. Yeah, but there was a third. Staying in Limbo?
no chance.
I don't know that masses have been blocking out your view, but this place is kinda a generic dystopian wasteland where the lost end up to live the rest of their afterlife, never having their souls put to rest until they either go insane or die twice. I read that young adult novel before a class assignment. It didn't have a happy ending. I was going to say dumb, but that works too, I guess. You aren't wrong. There isn't much hope for any of us here. At least in my opinion, that is. Yeah, I know things look pretty bad as is. But you saw on the way to this neighborhood. There are real people here, and they've made Limbo their home. How many willingly, really? Even if they couldn't get into Utopia, which chimes a few alarms, hell is right there too. Why not go there? Maybe it's because it's fucking hell and they're scared? Listen, guys.
DJ sighed.
I know it's a hard sell, but I think there's potential here. The people here aren't so bad. Troubled, but like, who else wouldn't be in their situation?
Last night at the bar, I met someone that said his friend was trying to get better, so he could try to get into Utopia.
See?
No, it turned out he was a thief.
See? No way I'd want that dude stealing any of my shit while I try to rebuild my hand.
Well, you don't have to worry so much about considering. Well, you won't have to worry so much considering he had to be put down.
Put down?
Yeah. He turned into a geist is what the guy called it. I think those geists are those creatures that lurked around in town. Rosita and Mitz's faces went pale, and DJ's ears dropped down at this revelation. This looks like new art to me of the horrified thing. I don't remember this in the original build.
Wait, those monsters were once people like us.
You gotta be friggin' kidding me.
Fuck, I knew it. Cliche and overdone, but I knew it. That's it then. No way am I staying here. I've got too much to do, so much to give. No way am I going to let myself become one of those things. You won't. They told me that only happens when I've already made my mind up, Deej. I'm not going to die here. Please, understand.
Mintz got up from where she sat and began walking for the door. DJ gave chase to try and stop her with little luck. The opening and closing of the church doors echoed throughout the hall with such certainty that Mitz was not coming back. DJ looked over to the rest of us.
Well, we can make do with the three of us. Right, guys?
Rosita and I looked at each other, doubt evident in our faces.
You too, huh? Well, I'm not gonna force you. I'm gonna go get my stuff and head into the hood. If either of y'all are still here, then cool. If not, then consider this my goodbye.
Rosita fiddled with her hands, unable to look DJ in the eyes.
Bye.
She then turned around and walked off with haste to the entrance. DJ went off to collect their things stored on stage, silently cursing under his breath. I just stood there in the center of the church alone, left with nothing but the options laid out before me. The little morning light there was reflected off the stained glass wall and shone down on me. I closed my eyes, trying to absorb as much warmth from it as I could. There was that kind-hearted angel Calais that wanted to help each and every one of us make it to Utopia. The demon Ramon, who was just as curious as I was to the way I died, and offered me a deal. Follow along with Rosita and Michelle to take the trials, or stay here in Limbo with DJ, or stay here in Limbo like DJ Sid, in the society guarded by Noel, the fallen angel. So many routes I could take to reach some sort of promised happiness. But in the end, the answer was clear to me. Deep down inside, the answer had to be I'm gonna make a save here just for myself for another time. I want to stay in Limbo. And I think I'm gonna stay here in Limbo. Call me crazy, but DJ's speech gave me a little bit of hope for this place. He wasn't the safest or the most glamorous of places to live compared to the other two. But that didn't mean that it couldn't be. And with an angel protecting this realm and its inhabitants, I felt a little bit safer. Yeah. Screw Utopia or hell. I'm gonna make Limbo my home. DJ then sprang their head up from behind the DJ booth. Is that the sound of authoritative defiance I hear? You bet! I pumped my fist into the air, and DJ did the same.
Yo!
Fuck yeah, bitch! Welcome aboard the SS Screw Those Other Guys! Title pending. I wasn't expecting you to stay after Pinky and the Brain left. Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate neither of them stayed behind as well. I'm not gonna hold it over them. Not unless they fail their test or whatever and rub in and I told you so in their face for buying into that angel's thinly veiled elitist crap.
I think at that point you'd be a little justified to do so.
I know, right?
DJ tilted his head.
You got plans for the day? I was gonna browse around the neighborhood, you know, take in the sights, and make myself familiar with the place. No, I still got some stuff to do back here, so I'll be a minute.
That's a good question. What did I want to do for now? Huh. What do I want to do? That's actually a good question. Huh. Hmm. Which one do I want to go to? You know what? I think I'll go with this one. I took a seat on one of the pews. I can wait. I'm in no rush. Plus, we've got all eternity now, don't we?
Dope! Give me a few more minutes, and we can head out.
But that is actually where I'm going to be calling it for right now. Give me a moment. I want to actually drop a raid over. Sadly, there's no one else playing this. But one moment, guys. Alright guys, be sure to copy that raid message and stick around for the raid. If you guys want, thank you guys all so much for coming. This has been a lot of fun, getting to go and do this. If you guys want to stay up to date on when streams are happening, since I don't have since the Discord is still under construction, you guys can drop a follow over to Blue Sky, Twitter, or X as it's called, whatever, pretentious shit, or Tumblr if you guys want to stay up to date. If you guys want to stay up to date when the streams are planned, you can find me at StrapStreams on Twitter. Blue Sky is the link that you see there. I will also remember to get that pinned to the one for the YouTube as well. But strapstreams.bsky.social. Or Tumblr at strapstreams.tumblr.com. If you guys ever want to check over the archive channel where we post all the streams as well as the videos that ever make it to stream, you guys can always check it out. Check out the YouTube channel at youtube.com/@strapstreams, written the exact same way that you would do it on Tumblr. Sorry, on Twitter. Strapstreams is always one word. This has been a lot of fun, and I will catch you guys real soon. Next stream that we're going to do is going to be some Phoenix Wright, so stay tuned for that. But catch you guys real soon. This is StrapStreams, signing off.